Good evening. Welcome to the January 14th, 2026 meeting of the Falmouth Conservation Commission. This meeting is being held virtually via Zoom video conference and is also being broadcasted by FCTV on cable channel 9. As this meeting is being recorded by Zoom and broadcast by FCTV, please be cognizant of what you say and how you say it and what can be seen and heard in your background. We are missing one commissioner and one will be late. We have a quorum, so we'll be moving forward. I would like to remind the commissioners that for commenting, I will call on each of you in turn, so please refrain from speaking over each other. Also, all votes are done by roll call, so when I call your name, please state your name and your vote for the record, even if you've made the motion or second. To our public attendees, at any time during this meeting, you may enter comments via questions at the chat function. At the appropriate time, they will be read into the record. If, as an attendee, you'd like to participate in a particular hearing, let us know via the chat function. Then at the appropriate time, you'll be promoted into the hearing as a participant. When you're selected, you must have your video enabled, be succinct, and respectful of others. Public comments will be limited to 3 minutes each. Regarding RDAs, under a request for termination of applicability, the applicant is asking the Commission to determine if the provisions of the Massachusetts Wetland Act and/or the Falmouth Wetlands Bylaw apply to the proposed project. A negative determination is that the provisions of the Act and/or bylaws do not apply. Therefore, the project may proceed as proposed. A positive determination means that the provisions of the Act and/or bylaws do not in fact apply and/or may require some conditions. Therefore, the project will require a notice of intent application. So as an applicant, you want to hear a negative determination. For the benefit of anybody waiting for a particular hearing tonight, and so that you're not waiting unnecessarily, the following hearing is expected to be continued. 52 Oyster Shell Land, Falmouth, Mass. All right. So to get started, we need a vote in the minutes for December 10th, 2025.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve of the minutes. I've reviewed them, and Steve Patton.
Driscoll second.
We got a motion and a second. Any questions? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Jim.
Aye. McGrath.
Steve.
Patton, aye.
Ron.
Driscoll aye.
Dave.
Anti.
Duffy, aye. Motion passes. Next.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, did you say December 25th? You didn't.
December 10th, 2025.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry.
No worries.
Merry Christmas.
And a vote on the minutes for January 7th, 2026.
Mr. Chairman, I move the approval of the minutes of January 7th. Patton.
Driscoll second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Jim.
McGrath, aye.
Steve.
Patton, aye.
Ron.
Driscoll aye.
Dave.
Anti.
And Duffy, aye. Motion passes. The minutes have been added to the record. Next, we have a request for a continuance under notice of intent. C.H. Newton Builders, 52 Oyster Shell Lane, East Falmouth, Mass. For permission to enlarge the existing deck and install the associated mitigations. Jen.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the applicant's requesting a continuance until next week, January 21st.
So moved.
So
Patton.
moved. To continue, the applicant's request continue to the 26th, 21st.
Patton, second.
Motion a second. Any questions? All right, I'll call a roll. Jim.
McGrath, aye.
Steve.
Patton, aye.
Ron.
Driscoll aye.
Dave.
Anti.
Duffy, aye. Motion's passed. The request to continue till January 21st has been approved. All right. So, request for determination of applicability. Falmouth Beach Hotel Realty Trust, 321 Shore Street, Falmouth, Mass. For permission to construct landings, walkway, and install ADA compliance features. Alyssa.
Staff recommends a -2 under the state and bylaw. Resource area boundaries are not confirmed, and this project solely takes place in an AE flood zone.
Driscoll so moved.
Patton, second.
We've got a motion and a second. Any questions?
And I had a question, with the
Ron?
Falmouth Conservation Commission regulations and the ADA compliance, who wins?
So we don't have any ADA compliance regulations, but since the project solely takes place in a flood zone, if they would like to propose something, larger, smaller than we see on other properties, it's permissible.
Okay, thank you. All set.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Call the roll. Jim,
McGrath, aye.
Steve,
Pat and I.
Ron,
Driscoll, aye.
Dave,
Cantai.
and Duffy, aye. Motion passes. All right. So for notice of intent, all hearings of the Falmouth Conservation Commission are held simultaneously.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
I forgot.
Did we miss 75 Reynolds?
We did. Sorry. We have a continued request for determination of applicability. Scott Massell, 75 Reynolds Street, Falmouth, Mass, for permission to construct an addition and porch and to reconstruct a deck. Alyssa.
The applicant has requested a continuance until January 21st.
So move, Patton.
Driscoll, second.
A motion and a second. Any questions? Hearing none, we'll call the roll. Jim,
McGrath, aye.
Steve,
Pat and I.
Ron,
Driscoll, aye.
Dave,
Cantai.
and Duffy, aye. Motion passes to continue till January 22nd, 21st. Perfect. Thank you. Now, all hearings of the Falmouth Conservation Commission are held simultaneously under the authorities of the Massachusetts Wetland Protecting Act and the Falmouth Wetlands Bylaw. Although a single decision of the commission is issued, it represents a separate decision under each authority. As a reminder, public commenting is limited to 3 minutes, so I encourage you to stay within the purview of this board, which are the rules and regulations of the Wetlands Protection Act and the Falmouth Wetland Bylaws, and how they pertain to a particular application. The chair reserves the right to stop any commenting that is disparaging or inconsequential to the hearing. Please know that all correspondence received by the Conservation Department is forwarded to all commissioners and becomes part of the record. We will not read each and every letter received at a hearing. Remember, our jurisdiction is that of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act and the Falmouth Wetlands Bylaws, not zoning, health, or building. All right, so request on the notice of intent, we have Michael and Pamela Backrack, trustees, Backrack Family Living Trust, 197 Shorewood Drive, Falmouth, Mass, for permission to raise an existing single-family dwelling and to construct a new single-family dwelling with detached garage. Jen.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I do not see BSS Design in attendees at the moment. I'm sure they're coming. Can we table this? You'll need a motion to table.
Motion to table it till later, Driscoll.
Patton, second.
Any questions? All right, the motion to table. Jim,
McGrath, aye.
Steve,
Pat and I.
Ron,
Driscoll, aye.
Dave,
Cantai.
Duffy, aye. Motion to table is passed. Next, William and Elizabeth Scannell, 314 Quistit Ave, Falmouth, Mass, for permission to construct invasive species management and install restoration plantings. Jen.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I am promoting Mike Borselli from Falmouth Engineering. And I just saw Nick Crawford. Yeah, there we go. And Nick Crawford from Crawford Land Management to present their projects.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, for the record, Mike Borselli, Falmouth Engineering, representing the applicant, along with Nick Crawford. I'm going to just open up the hearing and turn it over to Nick. I'm going to share my screen very briefly. I'm sharing with you the town GIS map. Shows highlighted in green the property in question. It is property with frontage on Quistit Avenue and Quistit Harbor. There's a large residence that's currently under renovation in this location. There's another carriage house further to the east in this location. It has frontage on Quistit Avenue. The It is surrounded by a coastal bank, portions of which are armored. There's an existing dock. This commission issued an order of conditions in the recent past to reconstruct that dock. This commission also issued an order of conditions to do some significant property improvements, including a reconfiguration of the driveway, construction of a pool and a pool cabana. You've also issued a couple of RDAs for minor activities on the main house and some activities associated with the carriage house. Now we're here for permission to do some other improvements on the property. In this case, the coastal bank that surrounds the entirety of the property on the Quistit Ave frontage is full of invasive plant material, and the applicant is hoping that you can approve an extensive invasive management program that has been designed by Crawford Land Management. We provided for the file the overall master site plan, and on this site plan I show highlighted in green the areas of invasives that are basically from the top of the coastal bank seaward to the toe of the bank. In the methodology, details, protocols, and all of the details associated with the work are outlined on the technical plan prepared by Crawford Land Management. There's not really much more for me to say. It's the area of expertise is Nick's, and I'm going to stop sharing, but I'm available for questions, and I'll turn it over to Nick.
Thanks, Mike. Good evening, everyone. Nick Crawford from Crawford Land Management. So what we have here is a fairly straightforward invasive species management project. The total area proposed for restoration is approximately 42,000 square feet. Of this, approximately 33,600 of that is highly invaded with invasive species, including the usual suspects: honeysuckle, border privet, oriental bittersweet, porcelainberry, multiflora rose, etc. There's a few pockets of native vegetation on the coastal bank, and that's what makes up the difference between the 42,000 and the 33,000 square feet. As far as canopy trees on site, there are a mix of native canopy trees that are red maple, black oak, eastern red cedar, American holly, black tupelo. There's currently 10, well, it says 11 invasive trees on site that we would be flush cutting and treating. But I'd just like to clarify, it's actually 10. One of the 11, in quote, invasive trees was actually just a large privet we noticed when we went out to flag the vegetation.
1 second, Nick, do you want to share a plan?
Yeah,
with the board,
absolutely.
please? Thank you.
Let's see here. Share. Did that work? There we go. Okay, share. What am I sharing here? Go. And now you can all see. I'm sorry. Not the bestest at this. Can you see anything?
We can see the agenda, Nick.
Okay, perfect. All right. So let me just zoom in on this, or zoom out a little bit so you
perfect.
can get the total extent. So
Thank
this is the entire site. All the areas that are proposed for restoration are in gray. The areas that have a healthy or decent native plant community at this current time are in the darker gray. When we would propose to restore this, 100% of the native species would remain. So like I said, out of that 42,000 square feet, approximately 33,000 of it is proposed for invasive species management. There's minor invasives to remove from the areas that are exhibiting the native plant communities currently. Hold on, sorry, I just got a lot going on my screen. So, in a nutshell, the way the work would be completed is all the work would be completed from the top of the coastal bank. We would use low impact footprint tracked equipment from the top of the bank to aid in bringing material up the bank after it's been cut and treated, and to get it to a brush container on site. All the work on the bank itself would be completed by hand, and all the herbicide application would be completed by licensed applicators. In addition to the removal of all the invasive species, there's one eastern red cedar at the corner of the house as you pull up the driveway that we would just like to prune to kind of lift it off the roof a little bit. Once all the invasive species on the site had been flush cut and treated, the whole area would be seeded with a custom native seed mix, and all the bare and exposed soils would be covered with 15-month erosion control blankets. From there, I know we're waiting on NHESP comment at the moment, but it's a fairly straightforward invasive species management, just spread across a little bit larger area. And I saw the staff comments, and we're happy to make those. Where are they? Make those revisions as needed. I noted that we can remove the switchgrass from the native seed mix that we would seed the coastal bank with. It's probably, well, not probably, it is there already, so it'll come in on its own. As far as hydro seeding, we are planning on, like I said, covering it with the erosion control blankets. So we can negate the need for any hydro seeding. Hold on, I'm just trying to bring up the comments real quick. Where are they? Shoot. Oh, here we go. Let's see the rest of the comments. Yeah, we're waiting on NHESP. As far as protecting the plantings, the plantings are proposed at going in 4.5 feet on center within the areas that currently possess the invasive species. I don't think that, most of them are deciduous, which is best case scenario for protecting them from the elements throughout the winter. We would look to plant this area one full growing season after the invasive species management had been completed, so that we can get a good control on the invasives and any invasives that may newly germinate or resprout after the initial restoration. We're totally on board with the typical monitoring reports, the annual monitoring reports. As far as, runoff and how that would be mitigated, the bank will be covered with the erosion control blankets, which will mitigate that to some degree. But honestly, the site, if you were able to walk it, not much of it is really pitched towards the bank itself. The bank itself is steep, but there's not the bank isn't really taking on very much runoff from other places on the property. So I don't anticipate any significant runoff or erosion while the site is becoming vegetated. You asked about the treatments and treatment times. So the initial treatment would be done during winter and or early spring, and that would be a cut stump or cut stem application. As far as the future treatments, we would certainly make sure that we were staying away from any weather, whether it be heavy winds and or rain in the forecast, to make sure that we're applying the appropriate herbicide per the labeled rates, per the appropriate rain fast times, so that all that is up to EPA standards. And lastly, you asked how the grasses would be mowed on the bank. And the mowing is really just to help establish both cool and warm season grasses. Since the project would take place in the winter, early spring, the cool season grasses would have a chance to germinate. Depending on how thick they came in, it would be advantageous to have the option to be able to, I'll call it brush mow some of the cool season grasses to encourage the warm season grasses to be able to germinate. All that mowing on the bank would also be done by hand, basically with weed whackers as needed. I would, as we restore the site, I mentioned this to Jennifer when we were there for for an initial site visit. We would restore and or remove invasive species, seed and blanket it in manageable sections so the whole site wasn't opened up at the same time. My guess is probably about 75 linear feet of bank would be kind of an appropriate amount to restore at a time where, it's only 7 to 10 passes of erosion control blanket, so it could be done in a day. And with that, I'll open it up to any questions that anyone has.
Thanks, Nick. You can stop sharing. Jen.
Thank you, Nick, for answering our questions. I think the runoff question came on, I think she meant when times of rain are forecasted, because that slope is so steep, but you explained that, so I appreciate it. We were wondering how you were going to get a brush mower on that northeast bank, which is like this. So by hand, weed whacker, that's fine. So you pretty much answered all of our questions and comments. Mr. Chairman, we are going to need to continue this for natural heritage comments. Just to let the board know, we have to place the hearing, your projects on a hearing within 21 days. And in the state's infinite wisdom, natural heritage gets 30 days to comment. So a lot of times we don't get natural heritage comments because they have another week or so to be able to fulfill that. So unfortunately, sometimes we do need to just continue these for natural heritage comments. But that's all I have. Thank you.
Alyssa, do you have anything to add?
Not at this time. Thank you.
I'll open it up to commission comment questions. Dave.
I don't really have any questions except that Nick, can you tell what a flush cut is?
Yeah, it's just cutting flush with grade. So it would
I
be
see.
approximately at grade or about an inch above grade.
So that means you're not taking roots out when you cut it?
Correct. All the root systems, we won't be cutting anything native, but all the root systems from the invasive species would be left in place to maintain soil stability while the seed mix was able to germinate and vegetate the area.
And then the treatments you put on it are what actually kill those invasives?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have any real we don't have Phragmites or Japanese knotweed or stiltgrass here, so most of the treatments that'll happen on the invasives that are there now, like the bittersweet and the privet and the honeysuckle, those are pretty much one and done. It's really the seed source that we'll be dealing with after that.
All right, that's all I have. Thank you. Nice project. Impressive
Steve.
project.
Is that me? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the hedges on the north side of the home, are they ornamental, or do they stay, or do they go?
All the invasive species are proposed to go. Hold on, I'm just pulling up the plan to see
I
which
just
area
don't
is
know
north.
whether
So
they're invasive species or not.
yeah, on the northern side of the property, I believe the hedges you're referring to are burning bush, so those will be removed.
Okay, these were just evergreens, but
Oh,
all right.
okay. Do you mean like along the side of the driveway and everything?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Excuse me. Yes.
those will be removed. So it's basically currently the condition they're creating is just a veneer of green and it's 100% bare soil underneath.
Good description. Okay, thank you. That's all,
Mhm.
Mr. Chairman.
Russ.
Ron?
Oh, sorry, Ron. Yeah, my bad.
Okay. I knew who you meant. No, I don't have any real questions. Just looks like a really massive project. Good luck with it, and hope it's done within a few years.
Yeah.
Jim?
No questions, Mr. Chairman.
And Courtney, were you able to watch the entire
I
thing?
came in on most of it, I would say, once he started his presentation, so I guess I've heard enough to make a decision, and I have no comments.
All right. For a continuance date, Jen?
We can do at least, we can try for next week, and if we don't have the number, we'll just kick it out another week, but let's just put it on next week's agenda, so the 21st.
Yes, we'd request the 1 week continuance. I was thinking the same thing. You're not meeting on the 28th, so if it's not on the 21st, it'll end. If we don't have comments from Misa by next week, we'll have to continue through February 4th. But we are asking for the 21st now.
So at the request of the petitioner, I move that we continue this till the 21st of January.
Third, second.
All right. You got a motion and a second. Any questions? Hearing none. Dave?
Anti.
Steve?
Pat and I.
Ron?
Driscoll, aye.
Jim?
McGrath, aye.
Courtney?
Third, aye.
And Duffy, aye. Motion is passed. We'll continue this till next week on the 21st.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, I'll take a motion to untable Michael and Pamela Backrack.
Motion to untable the 197 Sherwood Drive and put it back on the agenda. Driscoll.
Third, second.
All right. Any questions? No. All right.
Nope, I'm going, 1 second, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to, where's Mike? There he is. I'm going to, oh, shoot. No, Mike, I don't want to make you a host.
Come on, let me be chairman.
Hang on.
Give Bill a 1 week tenure.
Everything's bouncing around on me right now.
It pays good,
where's
Mike.
Tom. All right, so Mike's back in attendees and is not able to be chairman this evening. And Tom Bunker, I've just promoted up to present his project. Good evening, Tom. I must have just missed you, Tom. Apologize for that.
Yeah, no problem. I apologize for messing up the schedule and to you and to the Backracks. I was just finishing up some stuff with the Mashpee ZBA.
Yeah, no
didn't
worries.
quite
I
make
must
it.
have just missed you, Tom.
Yeah. For the record, my name is Tom Bunker. We prepared this. Oh, maybe I'll share the screen if I may. Where's that share button? There it is. How's that? Do you see the
Yes, we
plan?
can, Tom. Thank you.
Okay, good. Yeah, we prepared this plan, and first I'll say that we had a couple. This is the plan that we filed. There are a couple sort of errors of omission where we had done some work back here in 2015 and didn't adequately check our plan before we filed it. Um, one being the I'll note in the upper right by where it says lot 322, we show a 12-inch pine that's no longer there, and it's noted on the staff report that it said the tree was removed in 2018, but if I may, I'll show a picture. It actually blew down. That was in March of 2018, that 12-inch pine tree. And they had it cleared up by a contractor, but that was clearly blown down before anything else was done to it there. So it was not removed by the homeowners. And there are a couple other things that are incorrect on the existing conditions, but I'll go through anyway. So I have this existing house, which was built about in 1954, and on Shorewood Drive, and what's it there? And you see on the locust map, this is the Shorewood Drive that's up north, not far below Route 28, right on Great Pond, or right below where not far below where the Coonamessett River comes into it. The house next door here on the south, the Backracks also own and live in, and that house was built not too long ago. And so what they're proposing to do, well, of course, go over the resource areas. We have the Great Pond land under a salt pond, some fringe of salt marsh here. Coastal bank, the flood zone comes right up just about to the top of the coastal bank, which exceeds 4-to-1 slope, but the bank itself does not go much higher than the flood zone, which is elevation 12, I think. So there's the furthest landward resource area actually the furthest landward resource area is the coastal bank, but the furthest zone A is 100 feet from the salt marsh, which is back here through the house. And then the zone B from the coastal bank is landward of the house running through this location here. And then landward of that zone B is beyond jurisdiction. So you notice in the staff report, we have this proposed garage, which is, outside, is not in a flood zone or in a buffer zone. So I have this existing house here. And then the proposed house, as you can see, it looks basically the same. It is 2 feet further landward, and it was squared off a little bit where this house is 7.6 feet to the property line. But in moving it back a little bit and rotated it parallel to the property line, so I have 8 feet from the house to the property line, and where the house closest point is 51 feet on the house to the deck, or the steps rather, and it's 76 feet from the salt marsh elevation here, 76 feet. And in this case, actually gone to, well, it was 51 feet. It is now 53 feet. And 76 feet from the salt marsh is 79 feet. These are rounded off to the nearest foot. That's why, one increased by 2 feet and the other increased by 3 feet, but it's still an increase. And yes, I do think that 8 feet, I know you have your 10 feet, but 8 feet with no native vegetation around that could be harmed, I think 8 feet is adequate for for putting the house in. It's level. There's no native vegetation. No problem getting equipment around on this side. Mark Delpy is the contractor. He's good and careful in that respect. On the other side, the Backracks own this property also. So, you know, the limit is the setback is 6'4", and we do have a limit of work shown here. But they're, you know, they own it, so there'd be no easement required or whatever. They have their own permission to cross over a little bit of this property if they need to do this construction. Been there, they you know, downspouts all around that have no dry wells. We're proposing dry wells here. I can point out that these stepping stones existed some years ago. They no longer exist. So, you know, I can show you a revised plan of taking them out, but this is the plan of record. So they are out. And then this tree obviously is not here. And so on a revised plan, which I'll see if there are other changes, but I've made some changes already, which I can show you. And there are a couple of trees up in this front yard, which will be removed. So if I could just quickly, I'll show this. Oops. Sometimes I don't always know how to pan, but anyway, there's some arborvitae or some type of similar tree right up here. And this one is, the second one is 11 feet away from this house. So we show this one. That one that's closest to the house has been topped, probably because it was growing up into the roof and everything. But there's room to get through there by taking out this one that's in poor health. This is in your jurisdiction, this one tree. As you can see, it's in the zone B there. And we took the stepping stones out, and in the staff report they asked for a colored plan. I've gone over the mitigation calculations actually twice now. One after I removed those steps there. There is a reduction, still is a 129 square foot reduction in the zone A because it's moving 2 feet back. The house is moving 2 feet back. And there's a 30 square foot increase when there's overall a decrease in coverage on the lot, so no mitigation is required. So that is the proposed plan. I will stop the share and take questions.
Thanks, Tom. Jen?
So, Tom, I have a couple of questions based on your presentation. You're telling me that the stepping stones on the north side, the ones that you have shown on your existing condition plan, no longer exist on site?
Correct.
Then why are you counting them as your existing coverage when you sent us your?
I sent you a coverage twice, or I sent you this revised plan. I am no longer counting them. This other plan, I said I revised it this afternoon, and I sent it to you.
After you sent the impervious surface one to us this morning?
Yes,
Okay. All right.
Yes, I sent that, then I went out to double check things. I saw that, I calculated them again, and on this revised plan, I have the calculations.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. And then the tree you were talking about, that's on that northeast, that northeast corner.
Yep.
The tree you were just talking about that you needed to take down in order to be able to access around the house because you're not giving yourself that full 10-foot limit of work because of the property boundary?
Yes.
Okay, so you'll put a tree back?
Yes, I expect we'll be required to put a
Okay.
fee back for taking that down.
Okay, because there's really no trees on the lot, really. So they're on neighboring lots, trees,
Right,
but
yeah,
not on
there are-
this lot.
There are, yeah, along the property line, and yeah. And
And it does look, unfortunately, when staff went out there, it does look like the bank is still being cut, unfortunately.
yeah,
So
there's in
I
the
know
staff.
to your client,
Yes, we've
stop
talked
cutting the coastal bank.
about that, and I didn't know if we could do the bank. I don't know the proper term for it, but a stump regrowth like did on Bournes Pond Road, where they could select sprouts from the stumps and manage them to regrow.
That would have to be done under either an amendment or a new filing, Tom.
Okay, well, what I guess we can talk about what you would like done there. I mean,
Yeah.
you said restoration. I don't restore the bank, and so
Okay. Well, we can talk to you and give you guidance that you can pass on to your client.
yes,
But at this point, stop cutting the bank. It would be appreciated.
yes,
I mean, your client is asking the board for something, and the board has already asked them to stop cutting the bank, and it's still being cut. So,
mm.
okay, that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Alyssa, do you have anything to add?
Nothing to add. Thank you.
Okay, open up for commissioner comments. Dave.
I just have one question, probably for Jen. Jen, I've often heard this talk about 10-foot, a minimum of 10 foot from a building to the edge of the property. These are smaller, but is that because this is okay because they were smaller in the existing? And it really hasn't changed much from existing to the proposal. Is that why we're not worried about the normal 10 feet?
I am worried about the normal 10 feet. Usually it's in relation to a buffer or something like that. Not too concerned on the southern side because they own the adjacent property so they could grant themselves a construction easement. If they hadn't owned that the adjacent parcel, we would be pushing for a construction easement from the neighbor or to give them adequate room to construct this house.
And on the north?
It's 8 feet in relation because of the property boundary. If they had just decided to build it in the same footprint, the board would allow that. So I'm not too concerned with the northern property boundary. They'll just need to make sure that they don't cross over that limit of work. And Tom, over on that side, that limit of work is going to be a lot more than just one of those silt socks. It's probably going to have to be orange construction fencing along that north side. So Delpy doesn't accidentally cross over that. How big is his machine? Can he make it over there?
Well, he has various machines.
Okay.
You know, big excavator and little bobcats, so we can.
Okay. All right.
That's all I have. Thanks.
Steve?
Thanks. I have nothing to add, Mr. Chairman.
Ron?
Just one, is this a two-story house?
Yeah, it's the existing one, but it'll be a 2-story. Yes.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. That's all. Good luck with it.
Courtney?
No questions.
Jim?
No questions.
And I don't have any questions either. It's your pleasure, gents.
So we need a motion to continue.
No, I don't think we need a continuance. I think we can condition the replacement of a couple of trees, orange construction fencing along that north line.
And bank work.
The bank work cannot be conditioned. The bank work's going to have to come back to us.
Condition that we'll have to come back to you and make a plan to amend or something.
Yeah, have it analyzed by, an appropriate consultant and then come back to us, Tom, okay?
Right.
I make a motion to close the hearing and take it under advisement. Driscoll.
Bird, second.
Any questions? Call the roll. Dave?
Anti.
Steve?
That and I.
Ron?
Driscoll, aye.
Courtney,
Bird eye.
Jim,
McGrath, aye.
and Duffy, aye. Motion passes. We can close the hearing and take it under advisement.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
All right.
Thanks, Tom.
All right.
Sorry
Good
I
night.
missed your plan this afternoon.
No, that's all right. There was a lot going on.
Hey, Tom.
Or Sally.
Hi, Tom.
Right. Next, we have Stevis and Janice Rayero, 173 Metoxet Road, Falmouth, Mass, for permission to raise an existing single-family dwelling, construct a new single-family dwelling with porch and deck, install a new Title V sewage disposal system, and install mitigation plantings. Jen.
Yes, I am promoting Mike Borselli so he can present to the project. And attempt to hijack the chairmanship. I don't know what Mike's planning on doing.
Hello again, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. Again, for the record, Mike Borselli, Falmouth Engineering, and I represent the applicant, Stephen and Janice Regto. With your permission, I'd like to share my screen.
Go ahead.
I'm going to first share, just for orientation purposes, a GIS map. The lot is shaded in green. It's on a peninsula that faces westerly on Wacoit Bay. A toxic road meanders through, and there's several houses on the eastern shore of Wacoit Bay facing west. Off to the southwest is Washburn's Island and Sea Pit. The property has 2.3 acres of land. This is the existing conditions plan. I'm going to zoom into the area of interest. The wetland resources include, of course, land under the ocean on Wacoit Bay, land containing shellfish. There's a coastal beach. There's a coastal bank. There's a boundary of a flood hazard zone, VE 13 on the west side, and AE 15, I believe it is, on the side that we are doing our work. Actually, I misspoke. It's VE 13, and then on the upland side is not a special flood zone. This is the existing conditions plan. The top of Coastal Bank is shown here in red. The house that exists is shown shaded in blue, along with other areas that would be considered impervious surfaces within a no disturbance zone. In this case, there's a 75-foot no disturbance zone A from the top of the coastal bank, and then there's a 25-foot outer buffer zone B from the top of the coastal bank. So all of the impervious surfaces that exist are in the A zone. The proposed house. This is the proposed condition. For reference, in the background, you can see the existing house with red line work. And you can see that there was a significant portion of the existing house closer to the top of the coastal bank on the north and northeast side of the proposed house. It's been pulled back some. There is a deck. The views are magnificent. And the house has been oriented to take advantage of those views. This plan also highlights in blue areas of impervious surface in the no disturbance zone A. And it also, in this case, because the house is somewhat larger, some of the impervious surfaces are in the outer buffer zone B. More on that in a minute. The house is currently served by cesspools, which will be pumped and filled and abandoned. And the new house will be served by a Title V septic system that includes a 1,500-gallon septic tank, a nitro innovative alternative unit, which is a denitrification unit, and then a leaching field, which is all located as compactly as it can be, close to the house, minimizing necessary clearing. Most of the leaching field is under the proposed gravel driveway. And it's certainly a significant improvement over the current septic system. There's a limit of work shown meandering along here. We're proposing dry wells, and there's a dry well detail. There are 4 trees to be removed, and we're showing the replacement trees in the mitigation planting in the A zone on the northeast side of the house. It's in an area that's currently grass and definitely could use enhanced buffer along the top of the bank. So it'll blend in with the top of the bank and some existing vegetation to the north of. So the green area is the proposed mitigation. There's a summary of impervious surface calculations here. And in this case, because of the orientation of the new house and it's shifting back, even though it's bigger, there is a decrease as compared to the existing impervious surfaces of 56 square feet. I'm sorry, I misspoke. There's only an increase of 56 square feet from the current impervious surfaces to the proposed. There is an increase of 56 square feet. And we've applied a factor of 3 to that, which results in a need for 168 square feet. Then we also calculated the difference between existing and proposed in the outer buffer zone B. And there's an increase in the B zone of 800 square feet. If you remember on the existing conditions plan, there was nothing in the B zone. The new house got bigger, and it got bigger for the most part in the B zone. So there's a 2 to 1 factor for that, 1,604. When you total all up, there's a requirement for just under 1,800 square feet. And we're also providing tree replacement because of the requirement under the mitigation planting. And the mitigation planting was based on these shaded areas on both of these plans. That sums up the proposal. What I'd like to do now is just touch base on the staff report. I reviewed the staff report, and then I reached out to Alyssa to go over the staff report. And I think all of the staff comments are relatively minor and could be easily handled. I think the most significant one is related to the way we calculated the impervious surfaces. If you look on this plan, the blue shaded area, you will see not only the house and the porch and the step, but there's an area of crushed stone and there's a rinse station. We counted that because it existed and it looked like it had been there for a very long time. However, there's other plans from a previous owner that don't show this, and it's difficult to demonstrate that it existed in aerial photos, so we can't really conclusively prove that the crushed stone or the rinse station were there. So we're going to have to modify our impervious surface calcs to not take credit for removing those things. So that's going to require a modest increase in mitigation planting. We have areas in the A zone that are available that we can work with your staff and select to get to the requisite larger area requirement for the mitigation planting. I'm trying to balance preservation of the views I referenced earlier, but also enhance buffers with native plantings. So I'm hopeful that you can, unless there's other significant issues, you could close and condition that we work with staff and modify the mitigation planting to reflect that. There was a recommendation also of trying to do some supplemental planting on the eroding bank. It's not a requirement. They just made some observations, and I can review that with my client. If we were going to do that, we'd come back to you under an amendment. There was a comment that appears that there's been some cutting of some of the brush layer, and there's a photo attached to the staff report. My client's been made aware of this. He's in possession of the report. He understands that cutting cannot occur. There's an existing wire fence located along the edge of the eroding portion of the coastal bank, and that is intended to be removed. It really serves no purpose. And when the mitigation planting is installed, that's located up here, by the way. And when that planting is installed, that buffer planting will discourage anyone from walking closer to the bank, and the wire fence is not necessary. There was a suggestion that we also provide a limit of work on this side of the house, just to preserve any vegetation, or to limit how much vegetation needs to be removed over here, even though it is outside of an A zone. But it's a good idea. There's a couple of mature trees that we want to make sure the contractors don't get carried away. So we're happy to add a limit of work on this side of the water service to protect, for instance, this 20-inch oak tree that's here. And then there's a comment about regulations as they relate to armoring the coastal bank, and pointing out that this would be a new house and it would no longer be protected under the regulations that state the house has to be predate 1978. My client understands that. He has no intention of, or any expectation to armor the coastal bank. He has an existing timber bulkhead at the base that if that needed to be repaired, he would come back for that, but he wouldn't propose any additional hard solutions to stabilize the bank. The previous owner was successful in stabilizing the bank with coir fiber rolls in this area. Unlike the adjoining property, for whatever reason, the coir fiber rolls were not as successful. In fact, they didn't take at all. But the Redstows are fortunate in that their coastal bank appears to be relatively stable. So I think that sums it up. I'll stop sharing, and I'm here to answer questions.
Thank you, Mike. Jen?
Mike, when you're redoing your mitigation calculations, do you have enough room along the top of that bank to put the required mitigation and still keep them 10 feet from the house and
Oh yeah,
blah, blah,
absolutely.
blah, 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 without running them up along the side of the house or anything like that? Because, I mean, this is a 2.34 acre property. That house could be pulled back a bit more if needed without trying to wrap the mitigation around the house.
Yeah, what we intend to do, if I could share my screen one more time, is we're going to do a combination of two things. We're gonna probably slide the house back slightly.
Okay.
Because every square foot of blue that goes over this line turns into square foot of tan, and it changes from 3-to-1 to 2-to-1 requirement.
2-to-1, yeah.
We also have some areas available that will be not less than 10 feet. So we're gonna do a balancing act between the two things, keeping in mind the view and not having anything tall growing in front of the view. So it's not a lot of additional mitigation. I think we can easily do it and work out the mechanics of it with a revised plan and review by you and or Alyssa.
Okay, if the board is comfortable with us reviewing that, we will. Kind of a big change-ish. It's not a small modification, but the board's comfortable with that, fine. You're saying you are going to move that house back, Mike?
I think we're going to shift it back a little. I don't know how much yet. I have to do the analysis.
Okay. I just, like I said, I don't want to see them wrapping around the south side of that.
No,
You
what I
know,
intend to do
towards
is
the gravel driveway or something like that.
no. What I intend to do is come up with a concept and then come meet you at staff hours and go over it before we submit it.
Okay. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Alyssa, you have anything to add?
No questions. Thank you.
Okay. Steve.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think Mike addressed all the concerns that came up from staff, which were almost made me go back out and look at it again after I read them. That happens every once in a while. No, I don't have anything to add. Thank you. I don't have any questions.
Ron.
Yeah, I think working with the staff is great, Mike, and moving the house back, that seems to solve a few things for you. My question is a little outside, is that you have a path down to the water and you have a set of stairs that look like death warmed over. There's a 100-foot rope there. Are you going to do anything about the stairs? So you're going to have to use the rope to get people rescued from falling down?
My client hasn't mentioned that to me. I haven't actually walked down that set of stairs, but he may visit that and want to do some repairs to the stairs, but that of course would be a different application.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks. That's all.
Courtney.
No questions.
Jim.
No questions.
Dave.
Again, maybe another question for Jen. Jen, it seems like moving the house and we have quite a bit some significant changes in mitigation. So we're gonna do this without a revised plan. I kind of thought we might have advanced for a revised plan and a continuance for that. These seem fairly
That's
large.
going to be up to the board. I mean, usually we would do in a revised plan. It would have to be next week. If the board wants to see that revised plan, that's fine.
I guess I'm voicing my opinion. It seems like a pretty big slew of changes, and maybe we should. But I don't know. That's all I've got.
Yeah. Mike, but how far back would you be thinking about moving the house? I mean, extensively, or is it like we're just talking a few feet?
Just a few feet. Because I think if we move it back just a few feet and we have areas, am I still sharing?
Nope.
No, not yet. No, Mike.
Sorry about that. I think if we move back just a few feet, more of this house is going to get outside of the even the B zone, so that'll reduce, and more of it'll be out of the A zone. So just sliding this back a little bit, combined with the fact that we have areas over here that we can also add mitigation to, I think the two together is going to make it all come together fairly easily.
All right. If it's just a couple of feet, Jen, I'm fine with it, but I'll give the rest of the commission members another shot at whether or not you're comfortable with it. Or would you rather continue it for another week while he makes those calculations? Steve?
Chairman, I have confidence that the board and Mike can work out their differences on this and reach a good settlement.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Courtney?
Yeah, my sort of standing opinion on these things is the changes you're proposing, while approvable, are significant enough that I think we should see them. You know, and I mean, it certainly can be a continued hearing that takes 5 minutes for a review by Mike of what the changes are. But, you know, if there's something that comes up, we've got a chance got a whack at it. Whereas if it gets closed, then it's a different thing. So I would opt to continue it for a week. I mean, I don't think it's gonna cause the homeowner any great distress. It will.
Not to interrupt, but it won't be a week. We can't do that fast enough. I mean, you have a 1 week submittal requirement, so I can't submit something to you in a timely manner to have a hearing next week, and you're not meeting on the 28th. So if you continue this, we're continuing it to February 4th. And I thought these were manageable in the interest of time, but if you feel that way, if we have to continue it, it's got to be to the 4th, because I have to submit no later than the 28th for the 4th. And as it is, we're under the gun with other projects.
Mm-hmm. Dave?
So Mike, how critical is this to the property owner to move this quickly? Is it really important to move quickly right now?
I mean, he's just anxious to get all his permits so he can, he's like anyone. You want this sooner the better.
All right, I'll make a motion to close the hearing and take it under advisement. And let's see what happens.
Driscoll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Call the roll. Dave?
Take me last, would you? I gotta think.
Okay. Steve?
Yes, Pat and I.
Ron?
Driscoll, aye.
Courtney?
Bird, no.
Jim?
McGrath, aye.
Dave?
Kent, no.
Duffy, aye. So 3-2. Motion passed to continue. To close and take it under advisement.
Thank you. And I will turn it around as quickly as possible. And I do believe it's relatively minor, and I'm sure we can work it out with staff.
Mike, can you get us a plan before I write this order so we can hash it out?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we closed it. We got 21 days to issue the order, right? Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, if we can hash it out the week of the 28th, that would be great. Because they'll vote it. They'll vote it next week. If you could get me something maybe by Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning, rough.
Yep. I'll do my best.
How much are you sliding it back?
Yep.
Some rough numbers for me. We can work with you.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. Have a good night.
All right. So
You done, Mike? Have a good one.
Yeah, I'm done. Have a good one.
Okay. Have a good night, Mike.
So now under continued request for hearing and notice of intent, C.H. Newton Builders 52 Oyster Shell has already been continued till next week. Next, we have Falmouth Port condominium owner CO Rudy Hunter, Falmouth Port Drive, across from units 278 to 292 Falmouth, Mass, for permission to raise and regrade the roadway and install drainage improvements. Jen.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I am promoting Mark Dibb of Cape and Islands Engineering to present his project, and I do not believe, Alyssa, we have opened this one, have we?
Nope.
Okay, so the quorum is everyone.
Mr. Chairman,
Yep.
I have a conflict of interest on this matter and need to abstain.
Okay.
Can I observe, or would you prefer I go away?
You can observe. I don't have a
Thank you.
problem with it. How's it going, Mark?
Good. How are you? For the record, Mark Dibb with Cape and Islands Engineering on behalf of the Falmouth Port Condominium Association for a notice of intent. With your permission, I'll share my screen. Just start off with a quick locus map. So this is Falmouth Port Drive services a relatively large condominium complex that has over 50 buildings, each with 3 or 4 units in them. It's bordered on the east by the end of Great Pond, Route 28 to the north, and then these buildings and this roadway is Falmouth Port Drive. The project tonight is it's a roadway regrading project. The portion of the roadway that we're working on is approximately 200 feet in. It starts, I didn't mean to click that. It starts about in this area and goes for about 600 feet along Falmouth Drive. I'm going to go to the site plan. So on this plan, Route 28 is over here on to this end. We are working on this part of the roadway, and then it ends close to the pool and clubhouse area. Existing resources associated with the site. There's Great Pond over in this area. There's the resource areas that are creating a 100-foot A buffer zone, as well as there is a coastal bank through parts of the project kind of in between these buildings that are creating a B zone on the site. I can zoom in a little bit. So the A zone and the B zone. So what the project is as you come into Falmouth Port, there's a low point in Falmouth Port Drive that is prone to flooding when storm events happens. There's a couple catch basins that are literally at elevation 3. So elevation 3 above sea level. It has some drainage systems underground, most likely almost sitting in groundwater at this point as well. There's an existing overflow pipe that at that elevation, the tides can almost come up the overflow and further create issues with that low point in Falmouth Port Drive. So what we're proposing is to bring not only the low point, but basically from the road, this access road into some of the buildings, everything to up to roughly around elevation 7 to provide flood resiliency and to be able to have runoff get into a infiltration basin and drainage swales that can adequately maintain and capture and treat the runoff in the area. We did provide runoff data that says that this, which would be a grass infiltration bay, infiltration basin, should be able to handle the 100-year storm event. As well, it will have a redone and reconfigured emergency overflow beyond that. So any kind of, hopefully that'll never see water, but it's at a greater elevation where seawater from moon tides and extreme high tides will not, actually come back into the site. Again, it's for stormwater management and flood resiliency. It's not a major storm that creates an actual 100-year flood event per flood zones. It's an AE 12 flood zone. So, it's not to protect against the 100-year flood. It's to protect against most storm events. Now even relatively small events will create a pretty significant puddle that can become hazardous to get through at the low point in the roadway. A couple other aspects of the project in order to achieve that elevation 7, basically you'll see there's an existing 7 grade here, and then it's all lower than 7 all the way to over about here. To blend everything in, keep appropriate slopes and get the runoff into the basins. The work does include this gray area. There's no expansion of pavement. It's just in the same footprint. We are proposing just a grass shoulder along this side from the entrance to River Bay over to there's an extra detail. There's about another 50 feet of that grass. It'll basically be a walkway so people can walk along there to get from their condos to the pool and complex. Clubhouse is just just off the page here. We did receive a staff comment regarding this outlet structure. In order to get to the right elevation, we're going slightly into some natural vegetation. I did propose a sketch today to respond to that comment. We'd be willing to, basically with the orange outline here is what would be some natural area that gets disturbed. We could provide restoration in excess of that. There is some grassed area, so the green would be to restore an equivalent amount of area to have that outlet. Again, that's an overflow outlet. Hopefully we'll never see water coming out of that basin. That's designed for more than 100-year storm event. We'd be happy to make a quick plan revision to include that. So with that, I think that is my presentation. For now, I'll stop sharing. If I need to go back, I can answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. And Jen?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we did go out. We did walk the site with Mark at this point. I think our one concern was the proposed sidewalk that they are turning into that grass area, and I don't have any additional concerns. Mark, we can work with you on the out if you need to put some plants down there. That'll be fine.
Alyssa, anything to add?
Not at this time. Thank you.
All right, comments. Jim?
No comments, Mr. Chairman.
Ron?
No, all set. Thank you, Mark. Good luck with it.
Courtney?
I'm asking what I assume to be an obvious question. And that is that the finished grade of the road is still below the parking area that you show there.
Yes, I could show the screen, but the parking area is at about elevation 9. So it
And
comes
the road
down.
is at 7. Okay.
Yes.
No other questions.
Thank you. Dave?
I'm all set.
All right, and I'm all set too. I'll
Make a motion to close the hearing and take it under advisement.
Bird, second.
motion and second. Any questions? I haven't asked this yet. I apologize. Jen, anything in the chat?
Oh, yes, and I apologize, Mr. Chairman. I should be reminding you. Nothing in the chat.
Thank you. All right, roll's been called. Jim?
McGrath, aye.
Ron?
Driscoll, aye.
Courtney?
Bird, aye.
Dave?
Kent, aye.
And Duffy, aye. Motion passes to close. Thank you, Mark.
Great. Thanks, everybody. Have a nice night.
Thank you, Mark. Good night.
Mark.
All right. All right, we have a continued request to amend an existing order of conditions. Kim Siren, 24 Edgewater Drive East, East Falmouth, Mass. Request to amend the order of conditions for MADEP number 25-4981 to regrade a portion of the backyard and install retaining walls. Jen.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have promoted Brad Bertolo up from JC Engineering to present his continued project. Good evening, Brad.
Good evening, Jen. Good evening, Commissioners. For the record, Brad Bertolo from JC Engineering on behalf of Kim Sarin. We were before you just before Christmas to request an amendment regarding some proposed retaining walls along the property. I'll share my screen if I can, if I may. Is my screen visible?
We can see the screen, Brad. Thank you.
Okay. So previously presented, I believe it was December 17th of last year. We proposed an amendment to the currently permitted plans at 24 Edgewater Drive East. This project involved a tear down rebuild, single family dwelling, removed a cesspool, installed the Title V septic system, and included site grading, some various walkways, roof dry wells. We presented an amendment to include some proposed retaining walls to help with the accessibility along the southern side of the structure. The original plan called for grading that was, never really thought entirely about access, and it just created a too steep of a area to walk on the patio. So the proposal is to include a couple terraces on the south side where can pick up 3 or 4 foot, 2 or 3 feet of drop elevation over staircase, stairway, and then have more of a level walkway. As part of the project, we are proposing a wall as well along the east side of the structure. Again, the property owner went ahead and started doing work ahead of time, and we're aware that this shouldn't have happened, and we have stopped work on all the projects. At the last hearing, there was concern regarding the stone wall being considered an accessory structure closer to the resource area than the primary structure. And this commission allowed me to request a continuance to further evaluate the plan, and I reviewed the regulations. And I feel that the project as presented, one, is an improvement over what was originally presented. It's a vast improvement over the permitted plans, and we feel that it is compliant with the regulations. The town wetlands regulations does discuss under section 10.18, work to redevelop an area disturbed within the zone A. Majority of this property is the zone A of the adjacent salt marsh. And again, it discusses that for all resource areas listed in the bylaw, which includes the salt marsh and coastal banks, accessory structures in zone A located closer to the resource area, located closer to the resource than the primary structure may be modified, but the amount of impervious surface or pervious surface that cannot support vegetation in this area must not be increased. So going back and looking at the site prior to construction, this resource area buffer zone, or the nearest area to the coastal bank and salt marsh, pretty much was a grass yard, had large areas of riprap that didn't support any vegetation besides a couple random shrubs. And obviously we had the walkway, block of patio blocks that created the steps leading down to the pier. And again, on the southern side, similar situation, a pretty significant sized area of riprap that prevents any type of native ground cover from being planted. So we have a considerable amount of what I consider landscape features on the project, on the property, that are considerably closer to the resource area than the proposed retaining wall. The revised plan I submitted last week includes slight modifications to the walkway. Originally, the walkway was to remain, and the permit plans were to reconstruct the areas closest to the house that's within the original work limit, which was basically followed just upland of the coastal bank, which follows the flood zone line 12. And this proposal includes removing all of those patio blocks and timbers and that walkway, and not reconstructing it as it was, but providing a walkway with landscaped landing areas. The slope itself changes between elevation 13 and about 7. So trying to maintain the slopes that occurred on the pre-existing patio, I felt it was best to have at least a few steps. And I'm proposing similar material that was used for the retaining walls. They're granite stepping blocks that could be set into the bank, and then the area between each step was proposed to be planted with like a clover leaf, something that's low maintenance, provides good ground cover, and eliminates all the patio blocks that would have probably been reconstructed under the original permitted plans. We also are proposing to remove all of the riprap areas and revegetate those areas. Again, sorry, wrong document here. Again, as you can see here, there was very minimal vegetation existing between the limit of work and the resource areas. And by revegetating that entire area, so from southern property line to northern property line, between bulkhead and retaining wall, that'll greatly increase the amount of natural habitat and buffering between the house and the yard and the resource areas. The retaining wall itself will also help to create a more gradual slope across the yard, which basically follows the regulations regarding restoration of on-site degraded resource area buffer, or at least one of the recommendations says grading to a topography which reduces runoff and increases infiltration. So previously this was a grassed slope. We had originally kept it as grassed on the permit plans. We maintain that, but by gradually or just having a slight pitch will help flatten this area, which will help aid in infiltration, slow surface water runoff. The retaining wall also kind of acts as a barrier to help, pond any heavy rainstorms to help slow any runoff that runs down the bank. Again, the increased mitigation area will help to slow runoff, increase infiltration due to the change in surface from grass to more native plantings and ground covers. The permit plans called for, which are currently approved, 440 square feet of mitigation area. It was going to extend up to about, I believe, elevation 10 and fill in the areas on either side of the walkway. So this improved plan does increase it to 1,740 square feet. So a considerable increase in the amount of proposed mitigation. The trees on the plan here were previously approved. They are being planted to replace 4 trees that were removed roughly in this location of the property. So I think that I know that work was done ahead of time, and I'm not condoning that should have been done. And but I think that whether this work started or not, This plan is a vast improvement over the permit plans and will greatly benefit the resource areas. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any questions.
Thank you,
Mr.
Bradley.
Chairman, point of order on the, do we have a quorum? What is the quorum for this? I believe we opened it before.
Yes, everyone's on the quorum.
What's that?
Everyone's on the quorum.
Wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jen.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I'm struggling with this one. I've seen this board not allow retaining walls in their A zones. I've seen this board have them removed from plans. These tiny little walls tend to become problematic sometimes. Brad, did you do any exploration under that riprap? There's no toe stones in there or anything else because you've got that sheep pile, right? There's no toe stones under that riprap or anything like that because you're proposing to remove all that, correct?
Yeah, that appears to just be some surface stones on the slope itself.
Okay, so there's not going to be any like major excavation to get that out of there?
Not just be enough to reestablish some soil placement and planting of soils.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think my position hasn't changed from the last time. And it's not because work started without, we see that all the time, unfortunately. It's just, again, I've seen this board have these types of landscape features, structures removed when they happen to be either right on where a corner of yours is right on the top of that bank and then in that buffer zone A. So again, I think unfortunately my position has not changed from the last hearing. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Jen. Alyssa, do you have anything to add?
Not at this time. Thank you.
All right, I'll take some questions from the commissioners. Jim.
Yeah, it didn't seem like this retaining wall really added a great feature. I mean, the grade was going up kind of consistently, so I'm not sure why it was even put in the first place. So I don't think it was necessary, and I don't think it should be in the buffer zone A, to be honest.
Thank you, Dave.
That on that wall, Bradley. How actually can you show me the can you share again, Bradley? I have a question on the plan.
Absolutely.
I'm wondering how long that wall is. It seems like it's right on top of the coastal bank, and it's. I think you mentioned just a small part of it in some context a minute ago, but it's right along it's a long thing along our top of our coastal bank, isn't it? Where is the coastal bank there?
Coastal
It's
bank.
That blue line, right?
Purple line. Yes.
Yeah, purple line, right?
It follows
the
flood zone line.
So we're talking about a wall all along, and very right on top, or very close to that coastal bank. So, you know, I guess I'm agreeing with Jim that that's a significant thing, and so I'm worried about that with Jen as well. Can you tell me more also when you say the permitted plans? What can you tell me more about those? What were they? And what was permitted originally?
The permit plans are the plans that let me see if I can pull it up right now.
Brad, do you have those or do you want me to pull them up?
I don't need a detailed description, but just generally what was permitted.
There we go.
So what was permitted was everything on the site minus the retaining wall.
Basically the wall.
That wall.
Okay.
So what we maintained on the original plan was basically followed the slope that was pre-existing. We weren't doing any work on the coastal bank, which you can see from the purple line, and that those right, besides the mitigation, and then everything on the work side, we were just kind of maintaining 13, 14, just kind of carrying it across parallel with the rear of the house.
And were all the walkways along the side of the house down the bottom of the plan, they were permitted?
Yeah, everything that's on this plan was permitted. As
Okay.
you see it, we had a walkway, but this was just a kind of a relatively.
Well, you've got that down, going down the stages now, and a couple
Yeah,
steps.
exactly. So,
which is not a big deal, right? At least in my mind. Yeah, right.
yeah, and
So
again,
the big thing is then that wall. That's the big issue between the plans. Yeah.
yeah, and again, it's on the coastal bank follows the flood zone line. Currently, the coastal bank is there for stormwater protection, and there's not much protection with it being all grassed up to the limit of work. Anything beyond that is above the flood zone elevation, not going to be subject to your standard 100-year flood elevation. It's above the flood elevation.
Yeah.
So
but the issue is building it right there, so close to that coastal bank, and it's but anyway, I guess I'm leaning toward Jen and Jim on this. It's a big thing. That's all I have.
Thank you, Dave. Courtney.
So this is more of a question for Jen, and that is, would that wall be moved back toward the house to a certain point and comply with our regulations?
Sorry, I was just looking something up, Courtney.
In other words, I get what they're trying to achieve with a retaining wall, so they have, there's a division point between mitigation areas that are not supposed to be used for.
No, Courtney, there's no way it can be outside of that zone A, because the house is fairly close to that top of bank. From what I'm looking at, yeah, the house is only 21.7 feet. The corner of the house, that doesn't even include the deck. The deck is 17 feet now, so to get that wall outside of that zone A, it's not possible.
And if it stays in zone A, is there any provision under the regulations where they can mitigate for it?
Well, again, I've seen this board remove features like this because it has been within your zone A buffer.
No, I understand, and I think consistency is important. Okay, I gotta mull this one over. No other questions.
Thank you. Steve.
I support the staff's opinion and decision. Thank you.
Ron.
Yeah, Brett, thanks you for doing all the work and making all the mitigation increases and trying to get us to go for the wall. But I think it's just an impossibility. You weren't aware when they put the wall in, correct?
No.
no.
And
They were not
so
aware.
right now, if you can see the writing on the wall that this wall is going to come out. Can you even think about what you could do for it to help stabilize that area?
Besides just changing the grade back to where it was, and just and regrassing it. That's what we'd have to do.
Okay. All right. That's all. Thank you, Brett.
Thank you. And I'm sort of in the same mindset as the rest of the board. So going from here, Bradley, would you be able to amend this plan and take out the wall and regrade it and then submit back?
My one question is, it appears that this one wall closer to the water is your concern. Is there concerns with the walls to the south of the structure?
No. The
No.
ones alongside the house, Brad, the ones going down.
Correct.
No, I think we made that clear at the last hearing.
That's what I understood. I just wanted to verify.
No.
Is those walls able to be approved under a staff approval or administrative approval? Getting that, if that's the process, then I'd withdraw this amendment and just file an administrative approval to, let me share my screen just to verify. I would be looking for this change under administrative approval to make things possibly a little easier on your end.
I'm fine with that, Brad. So we can do this two ways. If you want to withdraw this application tonight, file an administrative approval, we can approve. Mr. Chairman, if you're okay with that, those two side walls, it is a pretty steep slope over there. And then, or Brad, we could, go through with the amendment, approve those side walls and just not approve the larger walls. It's strictly up to you. It's procedurally 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Yeah, it just avoids another document recording.
Okay, that's fine.
It's if it had to go through the amendment, then I would submit a revised plan doing that. I just think it easier just if it can be approved administratively, just to go back to the original plan and show the grading to the south of the house matching what's on the plan that was presented this evening. And if the commission's up with that, I'd be requesting that. Obviously, it's not what the property owner is going to want, and I hear your concerns and your consistency on projects. So I appreciate the time to let me try to win you over.
So,
Thank you,
Brad,
Brad.
are you requesting to withdraw this application?
I would request at this time to withdraw the amendment.
Okay.
Okay. Any
Okay.
do we have to vote on it, or can you just withdraw?
I would just, since it's being discussed and like this, I think you can vote on it. Yeah. We usually don't, but that's not before we had a presentation and everything. So I would just say, you accept the withdrawal without prejudice. And Brad, if you want to submit that revised plan to Alyssa and I with the walls on the side and the regrading of the back, we'll handle it from there with you. Okay?
And I one more little question: is it riprap still come out?
No.
That stays.
No.
Stay.
That stays.
Okay, I'm done. Thanks.
All right. Now,
I'll make
entertain
a motion to accept the
and-
withdrawal of the applicant's request. Driscoll.
Bird second.
Any questions? I'll call the roll. Jim,
McGrath, aye.
Dave,
Kent, aye.
Courtney,
Bird eye.
Steve,
Matt and I.
Ron,
Driscoll, aye.
and Duffy. Aye. Motion passes to withdraw.
Thanks again for your
Thank you,
time.
Bradley.
Brad,
Thank you, Brad. Good night.
Good night.
Great attempt.
Thank you. Maybe next time.
Maybe.
All right. Next on the agenda, we have a continued request for a certificate of compliance. Timothy Leadham, trustee, R&G Reality Trust, 1209 East Falmouth Highway, East Falmouth, Mass. Request for a partial certificate of compliance for Mass DEP number 25-4524. Jen.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the applicant is requesting an additional continuance to February 18th. We are still awaiting some information that we requested that we need to provide to the board.
Okay.
Okay.
Bird so
The
moved.
applicant's request to move the continued hearing till February 18th. Driscoll.
Bird second.
Dave, did you have a question real quick?
What generally is this project?
Okay, so Dave, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman, Dave, this was the reconstruction of Bosun's Marine off of East Falmouth Highway.
Uh-huh.
They they are requesting a partial certificate because part of the project has been completed and part of the mitigation for the project has not been completed. or has been, but was recently completed. So we're requesting additional information on the salt marsh restoration in order to provide this board with a recommendation.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
All right, we have a motion and a second to continue till February 18th, and I'll start the roll. Dave,
Anti.
Ron,
Driscoll, aye.
Jim,
Breath, aye.
Courtney,
Bird eye.
Steve,
Pat and I,
Duffy, aye. Motion passes to continue to the 18th. All right, next on the agenda, continued hearings under an enforcement order. John G. Butt and Mary Ellen Butt, 41 Mary Manuel Way, Falmouth, Mass. Unpermitted construction of a deck and fence, removal of trees, and clearing vegetation within conservation jurisdiction. Jen.
So this is an interesting one. This one's been on your agenda for quite a while. We have been accommodating the property owner for personal reasons. Fallon did reach out to Mr. Butt on Monday. He did. I'm looking at an email right from him that said he would attend tonight's hearing. Unfortunately, he does not seem to be in attendance this evening. My recommendation would just be to continue this for one more week. If, again, there is no representation at that time, then the staff will proceed with a presentation of the enforcement so the board is aware of what's going on. And we will reach out to Mr. Butt tomorrow to see what happened. But I don't want to not have the property owner present and just give him one more chance to come.
Okay.
So I recommend a continuance until next week.
All right. Due to the absence of the applicant, I move to continue the hearing until the 21st of January. Driscoll.
Bird second.
All right, we do have a question. Dave?
I'm unsure of the quorum on this. I think this is before my time, so I may not be on it.
We haven't opened it yet.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Okay, thanks.
Excellent. So we have a motion to continue till next week and seconded. Call the roll. Ron,
Driscoll, aye.
Jim,
Breath, aye.
Dave,
Anti.
Courtney,
Bird eye.
Steve,
Pat and I.
Duffy, aye. Motion passes to continue till next week. All right. Next, we have vote orders of conditions. First, Michael O'Connor, 73 Lakeshore Drive, Falmouth, Mass. Jen.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is the property where we are permitting restoration of the Zone A retaining wall in Zone B, not to be confused with retaining walls in Zone A. I think we've already done the tree work, so I think it's just the retaining wall and then replanting, revegetating that existing Zone A. There is a small portion of the deck, I do believe that's in Zone B. But so it would be the deck, small clearing for a yard, leveling it out, creating a flat space, retaining wall in Zone B, not to be repetitive, and then restoring that Zone A fully.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Lisa.
I had a note that we're still waiting on the cut and fill calculations from the engineers. There is some debris in the Zone A that needs to be cleared,
cleaned up.
and tree replacement. Looks like
The tree
there were-
replacement, is that in the Zone A or is that in Zone B? I know he's got to replace some of the shade trees that
Yeah, that would be out of jurisdiction.
that's out of our jurisdiction.
It says here that 4 came down under an AR. Staff recommended that at least 1 was replanted. I do know that the Zone A is forested. Since I wasn't out there, I don't know
Sure.
exactly where it would be placed, but if there's an opening to,
We'll figure
you
it
know.
out. Yeah. Okay.
Move to make an issue an order of conditions as extensively discussed.
Bert, second.
First and a second, any questions? Not hearing any. I'll call the roll. Ron,
Driscoll, aye.
Jim,
McGrath, aye.
Dave,
Anti.
Courtney,
Bert, aye.
Steve,
Matt and I.
Duffy, aye. Motion passes to issue an order of conditions as extensively discussed. Next, we have Wendy Y. Hill, trustee, 75 Nashawina Street, nominee trust, 0 Nashawina Street, map parcel 24-20-001-000, Falmouth, Mass. Jen.
Yes, this is
Courtney,
to-
you're not on this quorum.
You
Courtney,
hear
you're
that,
not on this
Court? You're
quorum,
not on
okay?
this one.
I'm not on the quorum. Okay.
This is to raise, as in heighten the pier, the concrete pier that's been out there for probably well over 100 years. They're just going to be forming it up, raising it about 18 inches, I think. And then depending on the ramp, they may switch the existing ramp to steps. This is because
Higher.
given sea level rise, there are times that structure is underwater during high tide. It's definitely underwater during the king tides we've been having. So they just want it to be usable during those periods of time.
Mhm.
That's
They
it.
can walk through the water to get to a dock or a cement pier that's above the water.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes down and then, yeah, I mean, it's pretty low in there. It's all salt
Yeah.
marsh in there.
Mhm.
But I mean, again, this thing's probably been there for like 100+ years. So
All right. If that's it, I'll make a motion to issue an order of conditions as briefly discussed. Driscoll.
McGrath, second.
An order and a second. Any comments? I don't see any. I call the roll. Ron,
Driscoll, aye.
Jim,
McGrath, aye.
Dave,
Anti.
Steve,
Matt and I.
Duffy, aye. Vote to order of conditioned as briefly discussed. Oh, that's it.
I want to
Who's
make
gonna
a
make the
motion
final
to
motion?
adjourn.
Driscoll, second.
Bert, aye.
McGrath, aye.
Matt and I.
Anti.
Driscoll, aye.
And Duffy, aye. Thank you all very much.